What is up, guys? It has been a hot minute since we had a video, but finally we're going back to a lot of DIYs because obviously they're getting more views. So therefore I'm assuming that it helps you guys out more. But today we're doing not one, not two, but three oil changes on three different types of LS platform motors. So Cody's LS2 on his Trailblazer SS. We're doing an oil change on the LQ4, which is LS platform. I know it's a Vortec, but same idea. And then on Cody's LS1 on his 2000 Camaro, 2000 Z28, 2000 SS, 2008 Trailblazer SS. So today we are going to go through a whole DIY on how to do all of them. It's the same general principle. Only difference is that we're just going to go over which oil filters we use, which oil we stocked up on a whole bunch of other stuff. And then after that, the next DIYs we'll probably be doing is brakes for this guy. And then brakes for that guy. My Jeep, it desperately needs it. It started squeaking on me and honestly scared. And it's finally hitting the little tabs. Anyway, it's starting to screech on me, so I know I really need to change them. So there will be a DIY on that next video, hopefully. I just need to stop being lazy, if I'm being honest. So Cody finally dragged me out to do all of these. So 3 oil changes. Actually, that'll be a good thumbnail right there. So 3 oil changes. 3 oil changes. Let's get it. Alrighty, guys. So we're going to start off with the truck. Cody's jacking it up now. So this is going to be the LS2. Obviously, it's a little bit bigger just because the oil pan is a little bit different just because it is a truck, so it does carry a little bit more oil. So come over here. So recommended is going to be 5W30. That's what we're going with. We're going with a little bit different this time. We actually haven't tried the GTX magnetic. This is not an endorsement whatsoever. We bought this with our own money. We're just trying it out. Make sure you keep track of your oil changes. Cody's a little overdue on it, so not too bad. But for the LS2, specifically for the Trailblazer, we normally go with Mobile 1. It'll be M1 113A. So we got everything together, and the reason we got 2 5-quart ones was because that baddie does take 7 quarts, which is quite a bit, and we end up using extra anyway for different cars. So all of this, and then 2 quarts of this, and then obviously when you start and everything, that's with the oil filter and everything, total being the 7 quarts. For the oil drain plug, it's going to be a 15 millimeter, so you might need your deep or shallow socket. Breaker bar might be needed, depending on how tight the previous owner did it, or how tight you tightened it before. And then you probably just need your 3/8 ratchet. But other than that, that should be ready to go for the Trailblazer. And then when we start getting into the LQ4 and then the LS1, I'll go over that again before each one. And then in the description, I'll put the time sections on which oil changes you want to watch, so that being the Trailblazer, the LQ4, or the LS1. So let's get started. All right, so when you go in here, so if you go over here, the drain is going to be right there for you. And as I said before, it is going to be a 15 millimeter. So I'm going to have Cody point at it for you. Yep, perfect. So we got our jack stands already. Actual jack actually supporting the car just in case is extra safety. So you're just going to go in with your 15 millimeter. Beautiful. Alrighty. Then I'm gonna go back up on top. Grab this. Alright, so for the cover, there's just gonna be a small screw here. And then this pops right off. And I'll move this out the way. And then you're just gonna come up here. And then take off the cap because it does help it drain a little bit quicker. So I'll just move that out the side. But this is just so any air bubbles can come back up, but it'll help it drain out quicker. But yeah, so just to show you guys again, like I said, the 5W30, which is what we're running. So just let that drain, and then I'll get back to you guys on where the oil filter is.
Okay guys, so it's just about done draining. Just, you know, let it drain until it's kind of dripping. On my way ahead and already loosened the oil filter. So on these TBSSs, it's literally right next to the drain plug. So we'll just go ahead and loosen this up, take it out.
We loosened it beforehand, just letting you know. It wasn't that loose.
And go ahead and let it drip because it's just gonna come out a lot. Don't try to pull it off, just let it drip for a second. As you can see, it does drip quite a bit. And the oil's pretty dark. I went ahead and used this too, like just pliers, you know, because it's an old filter now, obviously, so it doesn't matter if you mess it up or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and finish taking it off. And go ahead and just, you know, drain the rest in here. I'll go ahead and hand this off to Kyle. Thank you. Okay, we're good to put in the new filter and put the drain plug back on. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Alrighty, so after we already took off the old oil filter, let it drain. Next up is to get the new oil filter. Like I said, this is the one that we had in there previous as well. This is M1113A for the LS2. So we're just going to top it off a little bit and then go back underneath and then fill it up. And then one main thing that a lot of people miss is to actually make sure you get it up on the ring right there. That way it creates like a good suction because you do not want that dry whatsoever. So just get a little bit, spread it. If you've seen our past video on my Jeep SRT8, similar process. Only difference is that we're just kind of showing you guys with the type of oil filter, and then the locations of them. So, all right, time to put this bad boy back in. Alrighty. Alrighty guys, so once it starts dripping about that much, go ahead and put the drain plug back in. And don't worry about tightening it quite yet. We just want to make sure that nothing spills as we're putting in it. Obviously we're going to finish tightening up everything down here before we head back up. And then I brought the oil filter for Cody. Then you're just going to go back up in there and tighten it in.
Be careful not to drop the filter when you're trying to put it on because you don't want to drop it in the oil below you.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Alrighty guys, so just to get a better view without the light in my face. So underneath the car, I'm gonna go all the way back here. And this was the view that Cody was, so it's a little bit better. So there's the drain plug. There's the oil filter. Cody already tightened down both, so we were all set to go back. We are all set to go back up top to start filling it up. Like I said, make sure you just keep this underneath and check for any leaks when you do start it. But it's all set, so we can just head back up and fill it up. All right, guys. So cover is off. I did that earlier.
All right, so we're gonna go and fill it up. So this is 5 quarts, obviously. So we'll go ahead and fill it up with 5. And then this truck does take 7 quarts, so we'll do this, and then 2 more from the other one. So.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna hold it up a little bit, that way it breathes, because we don't want to run a thing over.
Don't go like too fast, you know, but just so it doesn't overfill it. It sucks when all this is all over the place.
A nice consistent flow will be good. Differences between an LS2 out of a Corvette and then the LS2 out of the Trailblazer. Obviously the intake, with the Trailblazer they did keep the Vortec truck intake, while the LS2 obviously had the LS style runners and everything, so obviously different intake.
And the intake's just for towing and stuff. It just needs to be high-rised.
So added a little bit more torque. Alrighty, so now we got 2 quarts left. Then make sure you get it on a flat surface to double check. So we're right here. We need to come down to there. So just a tad bit more.
Alright guys, so the reason I do put like half a quart more, so 7.5 quarts, is because the pickup tube on the oil pan of these TBSSs are in the front. So when you do floor the truck, when you stomp on it, all the oil gets swished to the back, so it starves for oil. Because the pickup tube's in the front, all the oil is being pushed to the back when you floor it. That's not good. So they do have a conversion kit where you can put it to the deepest of the oil pan so it never starves. I do want to do that in the future, but so just put half a quart, maybe 1 more quart extra so you don't have that oil starvation issue. It's just a big problem on these TBSSs.
So yeah, so now that we're done filling it up, we can move that out the way, put the cap back on, and then start it, and then obviously check to make sure everything's looking good, make sure there's no leaks underneath. Obviously we lowered the car already before we started filling it up, so this one's all set. Sorry guys, I keep forgetting. Make sure to dispose of your old oil. Like I said, the easiest way to do it is get the empty one, just fill it up in there, and make sure you dispose of it how you should at your local parts store. I know AutoZone does it, and a bunch of other places. But yeah, just make sure you get rid of it. Don't hold on to it. Do not just toss it somewhere. I believe Chris Fix discussed that before also, but make sure you dispose of it. It's not hard. Just put it in the old one. Make sure you put old oil on it. That way you don't get it mixed up, accidentally put it back in the car again. But yeah, so just a reminder. Alrighty guys, next up, car number 2. It's going to be our 2001 Camaro SS SOM SLP package. So as I discussed earlier, this is an LQ4, so it is out of a truck, but the only difference to actually make that LQ4 fit in an F-body, it does have a different oil pan. So actually you can utilize the LS1 oil pan on this, so therefore that explains why the oil filters are going to be the same. So obviously if you have a truck with an LQ4, the oil pan will be different, so therefore you will need a different oil filter. But in our case, to do the swap, you will need the LS1 oil pan. So in our case, we will be running the same oil filter for both these, and therefore this is going to have a tad bit more oil than that one. That one gets 5.5 quarts. This one's going to be about 6, 6.02 to be exact, but we're just going to be running 6. So when we actually go underneath, we'll show you guys the location of that, but the process is going to be the same for all of them. Only difference is location, and then obviously different utilization of which oil filter and what type of oil. So going over here for the Camaros, we will be using 5W30. So like I said, this one's going to be using 6, that one's going to be using 5.5, sorry. So we bought 3 of these bad boys because like I said, we always have extra anyway. So for the LS1 oil pan, basically, so for the oil filter, it's going to be M1-107A, and like I said, since they both have the same oil pans, we're running the same oil filter for both. I'm sorry, that's for the truck. For both, like I said, make sure you keep track of your oil changes. So yeah, all these are set, those are set. Let's get jacking it up. All right guys, so cap is already off. We just decided to put the funnel on already just because it'll still vent out. So then the drain plug is also going to be 15 as well. So when you actually go underneath, it'll be right here. So you got your sway bar, keep going back a little bit further, and it'll be right here for you. Right there. So drain plug's going to be right there, and right next door to it is going to be the filter right here. Yep, so 1 and 2.
Alright guys, just in case you're never sure, you know, about what bolt to loosen for the drain plug, just always know on most of the domestic cars, they're always on the side, never coming straight down. They're always like at an angle or on the side like this F-body is. So and if you're not too sure, the oil pan obviously will always be somewhat right under the motor. And then another way to check is just follow the dipstick all the way down to the oil pan. Okay, if you're never unsure, just Google it, you know, something. You don't want to drain out the wrong oil, because, for example, on the Trailblazer SS, it's all-wheel drive, there's a transfer case. I've seen some people accidentally drain the transfer case and not the actual, you know, engine oil. So just be careful with that. Just make sure you Google it before, you know, you actually go ahead. So we'll go
and then in our case, ours is a little bit easier. It's rear-wheel drive, so obviously the only plug that looks like this is going to be this one. And then just a reminder again, even though it is the LQ4, it does have an LS1 oil pan on it. So same process. It's going to be a 15 millimeter, and then it'll be right there. All right, guys. So good example. This one's being a little stubborn, so we got our cheater bar, and then just get enough torque to do it. Perfect. Alright guys, just because of the long tube headers, we did need a little bit more clearance, so we ended up having to use a ratcheting wrench to get the rest of it off. Alright guys, so it just got done draining. We put the drain plug back in. Now we already loosened up the oil filter. Now we're just going to let it drain for a little bit and then pull it out. Alrighty, so I prepped that one already. Old one's out. Alright, time to put this bad boy in. Alright, so now we're just gonna be putting in the new oil filter. We already tightened up the drain plug, so that's all set. Alrighty, so drain plug and oil filter is all tight. Now we're just going to take out the old oil, lower it down, and then fill her up. Alright, so back up top, we're ready to fill it up. So this one being the LQ4, this one will take 6 quarts. And we are sticking with the 5W30 on this one. Alrighty, so there's 5. And good. Alright guys, car number 3, the LS1. Alright, this one we're going to kind of run through pretty quick just because it is very, very similar to the LQ4 and the other Camaro. So, take off the cap, bam, it's already jacked up, and then we'll just show you really quick where everything is. Alright guys, drain plug is going to be right there. Right next to it's going to be the filter. Alright, oil filter off. All right, so drain plugs tightened, oil filters tightened, time to go back up and fill her up. And I forgot to say, this one is also a 15 millimeter. All right, and then this one gets 5.5 quarts. And still sticking with 5W30. And then just a half quart extra. Alright guys, so that's it. 3 different types of LS platform cars. Vortec obviously, but all done with all the oil changes. Extra information will be down in the description, so I hope you guys learned something. I know you guys have been watching that video more as far as oil changes and DIYs. So we're trying to do more of that content. I know it'll help you guys out. We love showing that. Obviously we have the cars to show it, so hopefully you guys learned something out of that. And hopefully you can do it on your own cars. So catch you guys next time. If you guys found that video useful of the oil changes, like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Hey guys, one more thing I forgot to tell you guys. So AutoZone, you can actually pick up your these oil change slips. They go right up where your dash is, or right up where your dash is, right at the top of your windshield. So they're just vinyl stickers. So, but they're free. You can just grab one. But anyway, I picked up quite a bit just so I can keep track of which cars. So this one's for Cody's Z28, the 01. This one's for the Sunset Orange Metallic, the SOM. And it's just a good habit to keep in track of when you actually keep up with your oil changes. When's the next one to do? And down here, I know newer cars you can probably get away with like 5,000 miles now, but ours, they are a little bit older. So it's just habit for us to do every 3,000 miles or every 3 months. So good little tip, get these at AutoZone. You can just ask for them to say, hey, I'm looking for those oil change slips, and they'll be more than happy to give them to you. But anyway, I pick up quite a bit of these just because they know how many cars we have. But just get in a good habit of keeping track of them when you keep your oil changes. Cody has an Excel sheet. You can also do that as well, what type of oil and everything. But yeah, so good tip to keep with these as well. I also keep notes in my phone about which oil I did, which oil filter I did the last time I did, and then mileage, and of course just keeping track of it. So yeah, just good tip.